Hello, YouTube. Professor here. I just want to start off this video by saying I want to express my sincere condolences to the families of the victims of the senseless shooting that took place in Colorado. Fired what took place there at that movie theater, but I want the world to know it doesn't represent the bulk of the people. It doesn't represent the majority of the people. There are a few nuts out here, but the majority of the people are good. I don't want people to think, and I used to be anti-gun, and I saw all the gun laws and gun restrictions that were employed, and I didn't see the crime rate go down. That was an equation, I thought, cause and effect. But just like cocaine is illegal in America, that's not going to stop people from getting cocaine in America or using cocaine in America. So this guy could have stolen a school bus, and gotten in the school bus and ran into a crowd of people on the street, killed a bunch of people that way. We can't outlaw school buses or trucks. It's not the implement, the tool. It's the person behind it, and the blame should go solely on the person and the actions that they took, not the tool that they took. And deeply hurt myself by what happened as a human being, first and foremost. It's just a sad commentary on man's inhumanity to man, and I don't want to base it strictly on environmental factors. I don't want to blame the movie industry and talk about violence in the movie or anything of that nature, because I don't think that that's really, it may be a contributing fact, but you can't put your finger on that, and you can't put your finger on guns, say that, because here's the reality. Everyone in that movie theater had a gun, had a CCW or a right to carry. He might have got 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 people before everybody bared down on him and let him have it, and he would have been done. And as much as that might sound far-fetched or extreme in this country, the reality is that what I just said really holds true. And I would think that most of the people in that movie theater would concur right now. The people who are still alive, that if they had had a gun, they would have shot at him. They would have shot back at him. They would have defended themselves. Police can't be everywhere. I wish they could, to be able to stop this type of thing. And I don't mean I wish police could be everywhere like an Orwellian situation where you have Big Brother looking at you everywhere. Manpower wise, they don't have it, and we need good civilian sheepdogs and people that are looking out, that are armed. But if everyone were armed, then I think that, and you'll have people that will say, well, if everyone were armed, people in arguments. No, I would think that people would say, you know what, that person may be armed, I'm going to be polite to them. I'm armed, and if they know I'm armed and I know they're armed, or a very good possibility, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, extremely unfortunate that our society and the world is that way. That you would have to say, well, the only reason I'm going to be nice to someone else is because they could hurt me. Or the only reason I'm not going to hurt someone else is because they could hurt me back. Again, it falls back to treat people the way you want to be treated. So, but unfortunately, if this is the next best case scenario to say, hey, everyone's armed, and because everyone's armed, you're going to notice that these cowards that do this, create these heinous acts, they only go in places where people are unarmed, churches, malls, movie theaters, where people are unarmed, and these people did nothing to that person. And like Demcat says, I don't understand the thought process that goes into someone's mind and says, let me hurt other people that had nothing to do with my situation. And I don't think hurting other people that did have anything to do with your situation is the answer either. But the reality is, this is a bad world we live in. So if everyone was armed and everybody knew that everyone else was armed, I bet a lot of these people would say, you know what, let me do something else. Let me take my anger out some other way. Let me start crocheting or something. But walking into a movie theater, that's suicide. Or into a mall, that's suicide, because I'm going to go in there and when the first shot is fired, everyone's going to point their gun at me and shoot me. I guarantee you, all these nutcases, this guy was intelligent, quote unquote, because he was book smart, but there's no demographic, social, economic, or otherwise. I can't fathom it, comprehend it. It's unconscionable to me to even try and process that through my thought process, to try and figure out a reason why you would do that to innocent individuals. My heart goes out to everyone in the world, but especially the victims, because we're all affected by this, not just the people that were hit. And I don't want anyone to think affected in terms of, oh, they may come take my guns, or if I had guns, they may come take everyone's guns. I just, the loss of human life, whether it be mine, yours, I think a lot of it has to do with we have a very myopic view of things. If it doesn't affect us directly, then, oh well, sorry for them, but it didn't affect me, life goes on. We've got to change. We've got to change. We've got to start looking out for each other. We've got to. There are just too many of these situations that are bad that are going on. It's very disconcerting, and it makes me wonder what's coming around the corner, because the frequency of this craziness and I'm sorry, I just get a little lost for words when something confounds me to this degree, and it's an emotional moment, because it's that humanity thing again, which is one of the things that I really hold dear to my heart. And when senseless acts like this happen, it just shows that one more slippery slope, just one more slide down the slippery slope of humanity, man's inhumanity to man. And it's hard. Being a Boy Scout, always be prepared. Whether it goes back to father who was a police officer, always be aware of your surroundings was one of the things that he always said to me. Well, I don't even think he could envision, and he, God rest his soul, he's gone now from cancer, but I don't think he could have envisioned the kind of mass murder, heinous crimes that are being committed nowadays, and I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of morality in our country, the glorification of violence in video, the lack of the family unit. These are all pieces to a puzzle. Can't say one is the largest factor to blame, but what we can say is that all of these things are contributing factors. We need to do something about it. We need to do something about it. We need to start caring more about one another. There's a commercial that comes on television, and I can't remember who it is specifically, commercial. And somebody does something nice for somebody, and somebody's watching it, and they observe somebody helping somebody. They dropped a bag, or they're crossing the street and she stops the guy from getting hit by a car that zooms by, and somebody witnesses that and they pay it forward, but they just paid it forward like, wow, that was the right thing to do and it was special and it meant something. I've had it happen to me, and I'm sure you've had it happen. Some of you have had it happen to you, where someone has done something like that for you, or you've done it for someone, and there's been a reciprocation there as well. You were the giver and the receiver as well. So much more that it overtakes the evil that is so pervasive in our world today. Because, quite frankly, I think everyone, not only myself, is quite tired, fed up, these nutcases doing what they do. And again, you're not gonna, even if they're legal guns or illegal guns, you're not going to stop these kind of things from happening, even if you outlawed guns, because illegal guns would still get in, and then it would be somebody doing this with illegal guns. So it's the same difference, and more crimes are committed with illegal guns than they are with legal guns. And I don't have statistics to back that up either, so if somebody can tell, but it's just my gut feeling. So I think if everyone or a lot of people in that theater had guns, concealed carry permits, and this guy came in, and I know he had body armor, but it might have been at least a situation where he would have wanted to try and find cover if he was being shot at, and then people could have rushed him. I really don't know. I know if you take all the guns away, you're not going to take all the guns away. There's been a war on drugs since the 1970s. And no one's taken all the drugs away. Matter of fact, the drug problem became worse. So, I don't know the answer, but I'd like to hear from you guys. I really would. I'd really like the feedback so I could take a look at it and just get some people's points of view as to what you think the answers are. And again, I want you to know, I used to be anti-gun. So I was a police officer first for a utility company, okay? And we were trained against anti-terrorism and, looking against people coming to blow up the fuel tanks. I went through training for that, with weapons training for that. My dad was a high-ranking police official, and he worked with the FBI as well as the Secret Service in protecting the President of the United States whenever he would come to our city, major metropolitan city. I'm just interested in finding out what other people think, in what the course of action should be, and in how we should move forward. And be able to make ourselves a more secure society without taking away our rights. There has to be a different way. There is no black and white. There are shades of gray in between, and I think some sort of resolution needs to come up with, just based on the fact that we're having the proliferation of these type of events continue to permeate the fabric of our society. And it's just a bad situation. Again, my condolences to the families and victims of this horrific crime, that people are able to heal from this, because the wounds of our country have been open far too long. It's hard for us to heal when we get a cut and it starts to heal up, and then the scab gets ripped off again, and then it starts to bleed again, and then it starts to heal, and then the scab gets ripped. That's kind of like what it feels like. Hey, again, I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate any comments. Please be safe as you possibly can. God bless everyone, and God bless those who lost their lives. May they rest in peace, and the victims as well. Please pray for the best, prep for the rest as much as you can. God bless.